Aberdeen boss McInnes calls rival Levein irrational and childish as public spat rumbles on. Direct McInnes branded Hearts rival Craig Levein childish and irrational on Boxing Day as the public spat between the two managers rumbled on. Irked by the Aberdeen manager's weekend claim that Hearts were always looking for penalties, Levein refused to mince his words, and had called McInnes a bit of a D. He had also accused the Don's boss of crying his eyes out over decisions. Sportsmail understands the two managers spoke by telephone on Christmas Eve but, frustrated by a resurrection of hostilities before Wednesday's 4-3 defeat to Celtic, McInnes said, "I have been in the game a long time and I find Craig's reaction to what I said about Hearts strange. I find it irrational and childish. Is the language strange? I think people can make their own opinions on that. I find it really disappointing from someone who has done so much in the game and who I have the highest of regard for." Insisting Levein actually phoned him to complain about the standard of refereeing after the Tynecastle side's contentious 2-2 draw with St Johnstone earlier this month, McInnes added, "Craig has intimated that I phoned him and is trying to cast aspersions. Let's be clear about this, he phoned me. He said I was crying my eyes out, but who made the call? He was the one complaining and he hasn't stopped moaning since. We played Rangers, on December 5th. And then next day I was on the school run when the phone rang and it was Craig. I was still so pleased with my team from winning the game. It was a private phone call and he has put it into the public domain. There is more I could say about that call but I won't. He said to me, what are we going to do about these referees, and my reaction to that was, you carry on your crusade, but for me, over 11 years as a manager, you don't get any benefit from criticizing refs. The call came from Craig, which I found surprising because he's not someone I normally speak to. There was distortion of what happened. Why would I call Craig to complain about referees? You need to ask him why he phoned me to complain about refs. It's disappointing. I want to concentrate on my team, but he decided to create this by putting a private conversation into the public domain." Speaking after Aberdeen won 2 penalties against champions Celtic on Wednesday, McInnes was unrepentant over the claim which sparked their row last weekend. "I felt it was even from the last game at Tynecastle, where they got 2 penalties but he wanted 4 or 5 that day," he continued. "Last Saturday I felt we were hands down the better team, but the first question I was asked was about Craig saying he felt they should have had a couple of penalties. My reaction was that Hearts always want penalties. When you get asked after games you have to answer, and of course sometimes you are upset about it. But I have spoken about how refs need help with VAR because there is no point continually criticizing the officials." Levein remained absolutely unrepentant as he defended his foul-mouthed attack on McInnes. "We have had a discussion and he knows what I think of him," he said. "He got involved in something that had nothing to do with him, speaking publicly about another manager and his team. And I thought he was bang out of order, bang out of order. I stand by everything I said about him and I am looking forward to him coming here the next time Aberdeen come here." Asked if he'd spoken to McInnes, Levein said, "I texted him and told him what I think of him.